Thank you. Hello, everyone. I am very excited to be here today to talk to you about casinos. Coin flip is a hypothetical casino game where you flip a coin and it will land either on heads or tails. Every time it lands on heads, I will gain $10. And every time it lands on tails, I will lose $10. Now, if I went to the casino to play this game and I started with $100, how likely do you think it is that I will end up losing all 100 of my dollars? Very. Anyone else?
Fair gain, it's, 50%.
All right. So if you are unlucky like I am, and I start playing this game, and I end up getting tails with every single coin flip, then yes, I will lose that money very quickly. In fact, I will lose it in 10 flips, which takes less than a minute to lose all 100 of my dollars. But if I had gone to the casino with $10,000 instead, and I played for a very long time, so let's assume that each coin flip takes about 5 seconds. 60 divided by 5 is 12. So in a minute, I will flip a coin 12 times. And then 12 times 60 is 720. So in an hour, I will have flipped the coin for 720 times. Now, even if I had continued to get tails every single time, after an hour, I will have lost $7,200. And I will still have $2,800 left to play with. Now, as you know, a coin flip is a fair game, meaning that there's a 50-50% chance of landing on either heads or tails. So it's highly unlikely that I will get tails 720 times in a row. In fact, I will get tails exactly half the time and heads half the time, which means that I will have neither won any money nor lost any money. The point of the story is that even in a fair game with a 50-50 chance of winning, if you don't have the time or money to play the game long enough, you may still end up losing a significant amount. For example, in my case, I could potentially lose $100, but if I had been playing $1,000 per hand, in a short amount of time, I could even lose $10,000. But in the long run, if you have money and time, and you're bored enough to flip a coin for 1,000 times, you will end up breaking even. You will have neither lost any money nor won any money. Taking this beyond the casino, into real life, the game of life is hardly a fair one. But the game of life is very similar to a coin flip in the sense that there are actions you take and then there are outcomes you expect. Some outcomes are positive, some outcomes are negative. No matter how hard you try in life, sometimes you will get the tail end of an outcome. And these negative outcomes can be so emotionally damaging to us that most people just don't know how to deal with it. They ask for help, and then you have friends who fall in two categories. They'll give you the advice type A, which is to say, well, move on. Go try something else. Change course when you encounter a negative outcome, because clearly this is not for you. And they will say stuff like, the definition of insanity is to try the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And then you have friends in Camp B where they're like, well, try harder. Double down. When life gives you lemons, what do? You squeeze that lemon, you make lemonade. You really got to double down on your efforts. So who's right? Well, the correct answer depends on whether or not you have an edge in this game you're playing. An edge meaning if you have a 51% chance of a positive outcome and only a 49% chance of a negative outcome, then you have a 1% edge in this game you're playing. In that case, then you should absolutely squeeze that lemon. You have to keep doing what you're doing. A 1% edge doesn't sound like a lot, but picture this. If you have a 1% edge in the game, that means every one of your play sessions, the expected value you gain at the end of the day is 1% of the total amount that you put down. So if you started your day off with $1 million of play money and you started playing this game with a 1% edge, at the end of the day, you will have gained 1% of it, which is $10,000. And then if you do this as your full-time job and you play for 20 days a month, then you will earn $200,000 per month, which is a decent salary. Of course, you might be wondering, like, who the heck has $1 million lying around with play money just to play this game? Well, here's the thing. In the game of life, you are your play money. Your entire net worth plus your future potential is your play money. So if you go into the game of life playing yourself, are you worth more than $1 million? Yes, you are. And in fact, some people might even call you priceless. So in the game of life, when we start playing the game of life, a play session is less well-defined. It's not a single day. It could be multiple days. It could be the duration of a stage in life, the duration of a new job, duration of a time you live in a new city, the duration of a relationship. But at the end of each of these durations, at the end of each of these play sessions, you will have added 1% of your life's investment into your life's value. But during this duration, there could be a lot of ups and downs, a lot of positive outcomes, a lot of negative outcomes. For example, if you have a gameplay where your strategy is just to work hard, you're a hardworking person, then you might go about life doing stuff, but you will still inevitably encounter a recession. And then you will get laid off from your job. And then you will be going to your next job interview and getting off bar, you trip and you break your leg, and then your girlfriend breaks up with you. That's just like 5 bad coin flips in a row. But your leg will eventually heal, and the recession will eventually end, and your next employer will be looking at your resume going like, well, single and willing to work long hours. That's a real catch. You get your next job, you enter at the bottom of the market when the stock price is rock bottom, and then you wait a decade, and then you become a multi-millionaire. The moral of the story is that if you play this game for long enough with an edge, you will eventually come out positive. But you have to abide by 2 principles. Principle number 1 is that you have to keep playing consistently. Getting an edge is not a single step that you take. It's a multitude of actions, and each of your actions has to be consistent in order for you to get this 1% edge. So for example, if part of your gameplay is to quit smoking, then you have to quit smoking every single time. You can't do it when you feel like it, because then you will lower your edge. And if your edge is low enough, then it just becomes 50-50, in which case you're like flipping coins for the rest of your life and not getting anywhere. And in the worst case, you might even have a negative edge where you're losing value in the long run. And principle number 2, if you want to play this game, you have to continue in the face of negative outcomes. So you encounter a negative outcome even with a positive edge, and it's entirely possible. You might lose a big hand during some time of this play, but it doesn't mean that you don't have an edge in the long run. In the long run, you will come out positive, but you can't quit so soon. You have to understand that things happen and you just have to move on with it. If you do have an edge and you're confident of being able to consistently do the same actions, then life becomes pretty easy. You just live your life the way that you do, the way that you've always done consistently, and then you will see that value roll into your life 1% at a time for the rest of your life. We're just talking about the 1% edge here. We're not talking about an elusive cheat code where you win 80% of the time. 1% edge is the bare minimum, and you can still already gain a lot out of it. The action you take, the strategy you play with, could be as simple as speaking more confidently. Now, the hard part is to speak more confidently every single time. No excuses. You have to play consistently. And once you can do that, then you sit back and relax, and your life will become a treasure trove. Never lose your edge. Thank you.
Wow. That was great.
Thank you.